I'm going to share 4 reasons why being a school counselor is the loneliest job in education. But don't worry, there is light at the end of the tunnel. If you stick around to the end of this video, I'm going to share 2 ways to help you overcome that loneliness and be successful as a school counselor. We're not teachers and we're not quite administrators either, so there's a few reasons why being a school counselor is really lonely. And this is why our role needs to be defined, redefined, and constantly shared throughout the school community to our stakeholders, students, staff, and families. Our role is often misunderstood, which means that sometimes we're given jobs and duties that don't fall within ASCA's alignment of what a school counselor actually does. National School Counseling Week, we have to prove and advocate for our roles and share why we are important in the school community. There are times when you'll have a student, a staff member, or even a family that doesn't know what our role is and don't know what we actually do as school counselors, and we have to inform them of what we do. That can get tiring, but that's a whole nother topic for another video. Comment below, have you ever felt lonely as a school counselor, yes or no? Also, school counselors work in isolation. There may be times when you're the only counselor in the building, hint hint elementary school counselors. And let's talk about our office. At times, counselors can be tucked away in a small little office space in another corner of the building in isolation. Or you may even have to share a space with another educator, another school counselor if you have one in your building, a social worker, or even sometimes a behavior interventionist. That's a whole nother video too. I'll talk to you about my experience with that, which was positive for the most part. But back to the video. We typically don't have a chance to collaborate or communicate with other educators in our building. Whenever they have professional development meetings, have you ever been in a session and you'd be like, this doesn't really apply to me as a school counselor? This can lead to feelings of isolation and loneliness. I will say that one of my previous school districts did a pretty good job of organizing events where all the counselors in the district came together and did professional learning and collaboration, which was a plus, but many districts don't do that either though. And as a side note, sometimes it's hard for teachers to accept us as school counselors because they see us as admin and we're not administrators. I like to pride myself in doing a really good job of building relationships with teachers in the building, and I felt like I was doing a good job. But in one of my previous schools, I was in a grade level meeting with my teachers, and after the meeting was over, they were talking about going to happy hour and just having a good time. But guess what? They didn't invite me. I'm not gonna lie, it did hurt my feelings for a moment. But as a counselor, we often get left behind. We get left out of things, especially when teachers organize things. I'm not sure if they think that by inviting school counselors to their after-hour social events that we're gonna go back and tell admin all the things that they talked about, or if they're even talking stuff about the things that we do or the decisions we make as school counselors. I'm not sure what it is. I just know that's my personal experience, and I'm wondering if you've ever felt that way too, to where you feel left out when teachers do things on your campus without you. School counselors often deal with very heavy subject matter. We hear about students' trauma, their abuse, neglect, and all those things that are negatively impacting their social, emotional, and mental well-being, and it wears on us. We can't tell other people other than like the admin who need to know those things. This can be emotionally draining, and it can be difficult to find other people who actually understand what we're going through. The compassion fatigue of knowing what our students go through, the uncertainty of how to manage or even deal with those things, and realistically, the lack of faith or follow through on certain organizations or outside agencies really adds to the fact that it's really lonely for us and nobody understands what we go through. It can be a lot. Oftentimes it can be too much. That's why I only share that information with admin and school leaders on a need-to-know basis. I try to make sure that keeps teachers in the loop as much as I can, so what I will do is I'll share vague details with them. Like for example, if you notice that Sarah is putting her head down or she's become more withdrawn in class, please reach out to me immediately. So that way I'm not sharing all the details of what happened, but I am letting the teacher know that they need to be on the lookout and notice things. And school counselors may feel like they're not making a difference. We work with students who are struggling and we give them the support that they need, but we may not necessarily see the end result of how things happen afterwards. We may not see the growth. I always think of school counseling as planting a seed. We can give them the interventions, we can plant that seed, we can water it, working with them constantly, but you may not actually see the fruit that comes from your labor. You may not see that seed grow into a tree. For example, I had a 6th grader who was struggling with anxiety, depression, ideation, and problems with their identity. And I worked with that student so much, and I didn't see until 8th grade small changes. And at the end of the year, that student and their mother wrote me a heartfelt letter telling me about how I've supported them and helped them throughout their middle school years. It really meant a lot to me. But that was just one instance where I did see the end result. You may not see the result of your labor. You may run into a student years later, or they may reach out to you and they can tell you those things about how they helped you. But either way, you have to treat every student as if you're already making a difference. It helps you and it helps them. So now I'm going to share the 2 bonus tips to help you throughout your year as a school counselor. The first video is a way to build relationships with the staff in your building. Getting that teacher buy-in and support is going to really help you transition successfully into your role. So check out that video. Additionally, if you check out this 30-day guide to success, you'll see all the things that you can do proactively to make sure that your first year as a school counselor is successful. Even if it's not your first year, even if you're a veteran school counselor, these tips will really help you. And if you got value from this video, be sure to like it because it helps push my videos out to other people. That's how YouTube works. The more likes I get, the more they'll show my videos to other people. And if you would like to, buy me a coffee at the link below. It helps me to get my creative juices flowing so I can make more content and videos for you all.